I want to begin by saying that I was not expressing correct, no, let's say completely rather than correctly. Ois Yud Beis of the Maimer, of which Ois Yud Gimel is now the next level, that the Ishavos of the Ein Sof is Blikvul, the reach Lamata, Ein Sof, the Maila Maya the Ketzel Lamata Mata Adin Tachlis. So it's actually the Ikat Gosh of the Maimer is, we learned it, is not that he creates finite beings, but in all of his creations, all the levels, it's infinite. Maybe we're kind of struggling with that even the creation in this world, Gashmi, it's endless, it's Ein Sof. Just thinking about it last night, if it Ein Sof, never mind the things, they're just the individual blades of grass and every creature that exists in the world, you couldn't count it. And if you counted the molecules of every, it's Ein Sof. It's literally Ein Sof. Even though ultimately, how can it be Ein Sof? It's finite, but l'chura, and there's first of all, there's no number. But if you started to represent the number, it would be forever adding whatever is it you're adding endlessly for this number. There's never end. There's no time to complete all the numbers that would be required, whatever symbols you have. If you counted every atom in the universe, mamish Ein Sof, but even creatures, that's the point. Just want to add this point. It's not that the emphasis in the Ein Sof is the mata din tachlis, not that the Eibishter can create and does even the most finite. That's not the point, really, which is also the reach. So there is an aspect to it. It's more in Chassidus that what's the measure of the strength of a light is its reach, how far it goes. So the Eibishter creates mata, but the Ardgosha is that on every level, even mata, it's blikvul, infinite creations. Now that is relevant to what's the discussion at hand, because now we're talking not only about these havas being blikvul, infinite creations, bria, infinite yitzira, infinite asiya, but that the blikvulness of Ein Sof is present and begoloi, revealed. Now, how does this jive? The question is, how does it revealed? When the Elam Hazan is concealed completely. The kus is concealed. And in the higher Elam is to Atzilus to a lesser degree. It's Taka the Chiddush. But we have to understand it. So this the Maimon is going to, Be'ez Hashem for us, the Maimon did it, explain it. So the point being said till now basically is that the Fidig Rebbe's Maimon was that the Chiddush, it's not a pella so much that you see the Ein Sof property in Olam Ein Sof and even in Atzilus. That's not a pella kolkach. The pella is in Olam Nifrodim, separate worlds biyah, which he's going to explain. And there you see the Ein Sof. Present and begoli, which the mind will explain. What the Rebbe explained so far is that even though the Fidige Rebbe, and I'll have to add Asbara, not now, why the Rebbe does this, but even though the Fidige Rebbe has one category, basically, Olam is Ein Sof and Atzilus, the Rebbe divided it into two categories, invoking the teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, Elikus and Neshamas, which matches most overtly with the Ramez, Ak, Olam is Ein Sof and Atzilus. It's within. And the difference between them is the Yesh Leima, which we're very clear on, is that Ak is Al Derech Ir V'Chayer Chad, and Atzilus Ir Garmoy Chad, both Chad, both united, but not the same. Still, it's not such a pella that the Ein Sof is revealed there, because at the end of the day, Atzilus is also blikvul. The Kelim are blikvul, as we explained what that means, Kelim blikvul, yesterday. Okay. Having said, let's go further now. So again, V'inyan Bazeh, which is where we're up to yesterday. So let's move a little bit. So the last paragraph rather is base. So this is after having explained the distinction between Atzilus and Olamus Ein Sof. We gave 3 chalukes. Ak, Atzilus, and Olamus. However, in the Maimer, it's 2 divisions. Olamus Ein Sof, Olamus Atzilus is 1 category. Olamus Bia. As we pointed out, we pointed out that there's a difference between Olamus Ein Sof and Olamus Atzilus. Olamus Ein Sof. In Malikus Mamish, Mashenkin, Olamus Atzilus, whereas Atzilus should be Yochel is, there can be, V'yesh, and there is Inyan Shel Kelim. Ella, still, there's Kelim here, it's 10 Svidus. Ella says that Ba'ofen Shel Ikus Ba Betzimtzum Bislabshus At Sheyochel Iskasher Dima Kelim. However, Alikus comes as a result of the Tzimtzum and unites with the Kelim. So, ultimately, then, because of the unity with the Kelim, which means the unity of Bli Gvul and Gvul, which means, as we said yesterday, the sense that Bli Gvul is as godly an expression as, Gvul is as godly as an expression as Bli Gvul is. That's what that means, right? We're clear on that. This discussions of Oyer and Kelim. What does this mean? That sentence again, the sense that the power of finite is as divine as the power of infinite. That's not lost on Atzilus, certainly not on Olamus Ein Sof. Whereas in Bia it is, the power of finite is less than and eclipses and lower, right? Or Kanal, Shachiluk. So back to now Atzilus and Ein Sof, Shachiluk ben, rather, Olamus Ein Sof, Shachiluk ben Olamus Ein Sof, the Atzilus had the Shachiluk ben Eichad, the Yichad, ben Eichad, the Gamoyachad. As you pointed out, this subtle distinction within in the upper worlds, Atzilus and Olamus Ein Sof, the difference is analogous to Hashem's unity as he's expressed in his Ohr, or as he's expressed in his Kelim, where the Keli is now emerged as a Keli, and there's a difference. Even though there's a unity with both, there's still a distinction. But still, after drawing the distinction, it's still Chad. It's so it's not a palette that the Ein Sof is revealed there.
Yesh Lahoyer, just at the beginning of the introduction, the Rebbe writes the difference between that is that the Olamus Ein Sof are Lakus Mamash. Uses the word mamish, meaning unexplicit. No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, right. At the end of the day, since they're both chad, what are both chad? Olamus Ein Sof and Atzilus, like in Atzilus Gufa Chayehu v'Garmohi, on a lower scale. So at the end of the day, it's all chad. The loy keba'elim is biyah shem bebechinas nifrodim, not like biyah, but there's a complete sense, the emerging sense of separateness, as we said yesterday. Just a yichudi lo. It's helpful to get this grid in the background. Yichudi lo and yichud tator, the higher unity than the lower unity. Atzilus and above is yichudi ilo, and Bia and below is Yichud Tator, higher unity, lower unity. Difference, high unity, the starting point is God. The Eibishter manifests these attributes. The lower unity, the starting point is the self. And the acknowledgement, I come from him. As we go down Ishtalshalus, that sense of self is stronger, and the acknowledgement or the bittul is weaker. But what's common to all of Biyah is the word Bria implies a created being. Atzilus means Eitzel, close to. Lahatzel means to emanate, doesn't imply created being. So from Biyah downwards, the starting point is self. That's what Nifred means, and that's what Biyah means, separate. So the big Chiddush is, that's now the Maimon now says. In the Gelul, in the Gelul, So the respect in the Olam is Ein Sof, infinite world, and Olam Atzilus, as we said yesterday, the basic difference is that Olam is Ein Sof is, there is Olamus there. But there isn't particular Kalim. It's infinite. It's not one expression. But Atzilus is already 10. It's already much more defined. Nonetheless, in Atzilus, not lost is Yichud Yilah. This is the Eibush expressing himself in Chachma, Bina, Das, and so on. So therefore, Ein Peleg Klal, the Ein Sof Meirishal Begili. It's not a wonder at all that the Ein Sof is revealed there is there in a revealed way. Simple language, it means no Pel at all, that the sense there is, this is the Eibush revealing himself. What does it mean? Ein Sof is Meir the Begilui. There's no sense of separation. There's no sense of value outside of him. There's no sense of independent value to Chachma and to Bina and to Chesed, as there is in our world. They have virtues, might, strength, beauty, glory, power. There's no sense of them having intrinsic value. Elikus is Meir there, which means all these values are because that's how Hashem is revealing himself. So that's not a Pella. In the Olam itself, it's on one level, and Atzilus, it's already Hashem expressed in a much more defined, structured way. 10, not 11. Numbers have emerged. A whole system starts. But still, not lost is what? This is the Eibush revealing himself in these ways. However, continues now in the Hasbara. Because in Atzilus there's Achdus. What does it mean Atzilus there's Achdus? They get along there, the spheres. They don't fight. Achdus means that no sphere claims title, as it were, to its own value. Every sphere says God has chosen. I'm using like comic book imagery for that's talking. Each sphere says the Eibush has chosen to reveal himself in Chacham, and that same sphere says, and in Bin and in Das and in all of the others. It's not Chacham as a virtue. This particular attribute is virtuous. Achdus means that this is just the way God has chosen to express himself, and each midah, as it were, points to the other, says, and that way, and that way, and that way. And that's what's meant by Eir himself, is Begolui there. That's what Achdus means. Achdus means really looking at me, per se, singling me out. It's us. It's all of us. Because all of us are nothing more than his chosen expression. That's what Achdus means. Kivin sha'achdus hu keli lekabel ein sof, unity, which means bittul, which means not me. I'm just an expression. I'm a keli. That's the keli for ein sof. Shalchen gam therefore quote from the Maamre. And he used the word Elikus Mamish also, Chaim, by the way. So that the word Elikus Mamish is, shall end of the day, Gama Kelim, that Silas Adim Elikus Mamish. Shari'iyu v'garmoyuchad, he and his causations, his Kelim are one. V'lochin yef shaloima, so therefore we cannot say at the end of the day, and we're trying to bring out the mat adin tachlis. The address is not Atzilus. That's not Mata. That's Gili Erin Sof. That's for sure. You might want to say that Mata, Lagabe Atzmos, already is the Olam B'Sein Sof and Atzilus. It's already a descent. No, not real descent, because they express his truth. So it's not a Pella, Kivin Shein Zeh Pella cloud that Erin Sof was revealed there. Where's the Pella? The Pella is in Bia. Now comes the gewaltige Chiddush, friends. Nuanced insight into Ishtalshles and Bia, and how in Bia the Eir itself is Meir Begolem. And you way of understanding Bia in a sense. In a sense. Okay, let's continue. Mamshir Ba'Maimer is Gimel. So where is this the statement of the Zohar that the Ein Sof descends unfathomably without end? So it says the Maamre, goes on Bia. Again, this is accords well with the Baal Shem Tov and the Ramez. The Fisher Olam is Biyah, Hadim Bechinas Mata, is quotations. Olam is Biyah, that's Mata. And what's the imagery, the marshal that he gives us to understand? The Kelim that Tzilis and Kegufel and Ishmas. The Kelim of Tzilis are analogous to the body and the soul. The body is alive. The body is alive. And so it's bottled to the soul. A person's so alive, you don't say it's a body, the body. It's clear that it's a living entity, that there's a soul in the person. There's a fusion. That's Atzilus. The analogy is a garment. A garment that's already an extraneous thing. It's something other that we don. That's already nifra. That's already separation. The spheres of Biyah. Like we say in Pasach, like explain in Pasach Eliyah. It's interesting, diak, not as it says in Pasach Eliyah, but it's explained in Pasach Eliyah. Where's the beard? Because he uses this in these words. The kambel lavushin tekinaslain. The beard is that he invokes the analogy of lavushim, of garments. Translation: you have made for them, for Atzilus, many garments. For your attributes, many garments. What are these garments? The Koyal Biyah refers to Biyah. Shehem leidak levushim bilvad. Sorry, not leidak. Shehem rak, important. Shehem rak levushim bilvad, the only levushim, not like the analogy of a soul and a body, but a garment. Leidak kelim, that Atzilus, to the oil that has been expressed in the kelim of Atzilus. Now comes the critical part. Moishe. If you get a bad from the Zoyan, Ois Gimel, number 28 in the text, yeah?
Just wondering that where there's a closed quotation in the sentence you just finished, where does the quotation start?
We go back a little bit. It went back to where did it start? Mamshir B'Maimer.
Okay, got it.
Where?
In the middle of the second line.
Middle of the second line. Yeah, right there. Yeah, after the shin. It's lost between the shin and the ayns. He didn't see it. Moishe, if you get a bad, it's Kemaim, but like it says in Zohar, Ema Ilo Mekana de Bekursaya, Bina, the supernal mother, which is Bina, rests on the throne. Or it means a divan and a post, a chair. The Eimei Ilo Bchinas Bina Datzilus, the supernal mother, right? Chachma, his father, Bina, his mother, is Atzil Bina Datzilus. Harihi Mekanena Bekursaya, where she manifests on the divan, the throne. The world of the throne, which is Elam Abri, just explained what the Kisei. This is all referring to the Merkava, the Nevuah Yecheskel and Yeshaya, which basically is there's a throne. And there's Adam Sh'ala Kisei, that's Atzilus. The throne is Bria. And then there's the Ifanim and so on, Yitzida, and finally Yasir, the low Ifanim. Chayes HaKodesh and the Ifanim. That's the whole basis of God, the whole Kabbalah, and it's the Dalad Olam is basically there. Adam Ba'Elyon, the Kisei, and so on. So he brings now from the Zohar exactly this: that the Bina rests in the world of the throne. That's Bria. She's Svira on B'Yitzira, the 6 Sviras in Yitzira. V'Oifen, that's the Ifanim, which refers to Malchos, which carries the throne, BASI. Now, why is he bringing this? What does this add? That reveals an incredible insight. It was enough to just say, Biyah is nifrodim. And we understand that. Biyah is nifrodim, and the Pele is that the audience of is this Gala in Biyah. But by bringing this, he's already giving us the explanation of how, notwithstanding the nifrodim separate, the Eid Sof is revealed there. Let's see. The Rebbe suggests here that what he intends to explain is so this that we said, invoking the model of garment. So he said that biyah garments to the Eid of Atzilus. It's not in the following way. It's a series of levushim. Bria is a garment to Atzilus. And then v'yitzirehu levush lebria. And then there's another whole new that ends there. And then Yitzir is, and then on top of that, a garment to Bria, Vasiya hu levush liyitzir. And Nasiya is now another garment to Yitzir. That's how I might understand the whole unit of levushim, a series of garments. Why is it not so? First of all, if that was the case, then we would say shemaspi chashevach that in sof lemata adin tachlis benegel ispashtus v'gilui it will be enough to point out as soon as we've invoked levushim, we've already touched mata. That's enough to say gewalt that Ein Sof is revealed even in levushim. Another levush doesn't add anything to this qualitative, fundamental change from Atzilus to Biyah. So Bria would stop at Bria. Sharigam zeh dova pele. That's also dvar pele. That what? That in Olam HaBria, and stop there. Just the pele just says okay. But once we're saying that the Ein Sof is revealed in levushim, and the levush starts in Olam HaBria, we can stop there. We can talk about Bria. That's already expressive of the pele of the mata din tachlis. The fact that there's another garment, that's not fundamental anything novel. That's not the way it works. How does it work? What's he bringing from the Zohar? Let's see. Hello. It's not a series of levushim. Elo inyan levushim ba'ofen shekol. And I just get clear before we go further. The way we're saying till now is like this. Atzilus is in a way of a garment invested in Biyah. That's the end of Atzilus's influence. I'm sorry, Bria. Now Bria is now a new reality, and that's now invested in Yitzirah, in a garment model. That's the end of Bria's influence. Yitzirah eclipsed, and Yitzirah is invested in Nasiyah. That's what a series of levushim would mean. Again, it would mean that Atzilus's influence is only as a levush in Bria. Now, Bria in totality is mashpia in Yitzirah through the tzimtzum, which we're calling levush, and so on. Not so. That's not the word. What is the word? Elinya levushim hu be'ofen shekol gimel olam is biyah nechshavim k'moi olam echad. Atzilus is really invested in all of Biyah. Skip the brackets for a second. We'll get to it in a second. Shekulom biyachad heim levushim le'olam Atzilus. They're all a garment to Atzilus, not a garment for each other in descending order. The Bria is a garment for Atzilus, and Yitzir is a garment for Bria, and so, not so. We'll get back to the square brackets. And that's what the statement of the Zohar says. Bin is revealed in Bria. Shish Svirim be Yitzirah, the 6 Sviris in Yitzirah, V'oifen Basiyah, and Malchus in Asiyah. She'ein ze be'oifen. It's not. It's not that after The bin of Atzilus is Nislabish and Bria. As it is a new thing, Nislabish, Oilam Abria, Oilam Aitzira. Atzilus is Ashpa is over, and now Oilam Abria is invested in Yitzira. Yitzira by Yisir, not so. Kiyim, Shekol, Asviras, Datzilus, all of Atzilus, Bina, and Zoh, and which is the Shisvira, the 6 Viras. And Malchus Oifen, Shem Koim Achas, it's one Koim, one stature, one revelation of the divine. Mislabshim b'chol gilm olim is biyah. Where is it invested? In takas lavush, but where? In all the 3 elements of biyah. Allah shows labshus be'oifen shebina mekoyim be'elam abriya. Where's bina is in briya? So be'elam hayitzira u'malchus be'elam hasiyat. I give you a moshel for. Let's give a moshel to understand this. What he's saying is like this. Conventionally, we don't understand it this way. Standard is Atzilus, whatever Ashpot has in Bria, that's it. Bria, Yitzir, Asiyah, they're all different worlds. He's saying no. So here's the moshel. L'chura. So there's four children. Or four children and the father, relating to the father. 4 different ages. For 4 different degrees of appreciation. So the most developed child appreciates the father's mind. The next level, it's an emotional, the father's world doesn't relate to it, but the father's emotion. Actually, if we're starting at Tzilit, it's more. The oldest child, the most intelligent, appreciates the father, period, higher than any particular properties. He has an understanding, the fundamental, essential father relationship. Then that's Atzilus. Bria is appreciating the father's mind.
Chachmad Atzilus.
That's not Bina. Yitzira is appreciating the father's emotion. And Asiyah, the youngest child, relates to the father on the behavioral level. What's the nikud of this motion? They're all relating to the father. No less. No, but then they're relating to the father in different expressions of him. So there's a big tzimtzum. There's a big difference between the 4 kids in terms of their sophistication. So the oldest child appreciates the father on this level, the next one on the next level, next one on the next level, and so on. Oh, and you're actually emotional. Maybe it's easier to see.
Your painting, Marshall, is also the same thing.
Yeah, I want to use it in a relationship. It's stronger. Yeah, that's also Moshe. I think this is a better Moshe. So Rebbe Chassid. So there is a Chassid that his appreciation is, and Neshama Klolis understands. He appreciates the Atzmis, the Geruchnis, the king of what a Rebbe is. That's Atzilus. Then is the Chassid that appreciates the Gewaldige Teure. The Sichus Maimorim. Then there's the Chassid, he doesn't have such an intellectual, but the emotion. The emotion of 770 and the love, etc., the feeling. And then there's the simple chassid, that just a tznu of the Rebbe, that's what he lives with. Simple action, a child. All of them relating to the Rebbe. Essentially, they're all relating to the Rebbe, but then each one, based on their level of development, sophistication, is relating to different levels. So that's what he's saying here now.
In the Maamre, it all goes through Atzilus, right? So it doesn't do it the mashal exactly. In the Maamre, it's the
yeah.
But what's the mile of Atzilus is that's
the children are Chachma, Bina, Zah, and Malchus of Atzilus in the Nimshal.
Yeah, but he's asking, but the Yadam Shocher. His Beprati is, we're saying Atzilus is Nimshach Lamata. Anyway, let's can finish the paragraph. Shein the Eirin Sof Lamata din Tachlis. We're starting to get the answer. That Eirin Sof Lamata din Tachlis, Koil al Kol Gimel Elam is Biyah. It's all the way down to beyond. Atzilus is very clear. It's you. And that's carried through in beyond. What's the difference? So which aspect of you are we talking about or relating to? But it's you, the child who is relating to the Tnuah, even the Tnuah, it's not the Tnuah independent, the hand move. Nothing. Your hand move.
As opposed to how did we understand it beforehand?
As before. Conventionally, these mindless themselves start becoming independent. The seichel, they relate to the seichel per se, the action per se, God's actions. Wow, the action, not that it's your action. The question is here that felt in Olam Asiyah is that it's your action. Not impressed by the attribute, the chesed, the gvura, the action, the emotion, but that it's yours. I mean, if I'm getting this right, it's tremendous new appreciation of Ishtalshalus. Okay, we'll learn further. We'll learn further. But that's clearly what he's saying here. Just in the square brackets, go back to it. That all the Olamis are considered one Olam, can now be Piddush HaMaimer, like the statement of the Zohar, that plus Almin Islam Kutshabich, Ebish has three worlds. Shem Olam is saying Sof, Elam Atil, Olam is Biyah, Haino, Shem Olam is Biyah Nashab Olam Achad. All the biyah is considered the deep there. All the biyah is one category. All the biyah, not like three different realities. It's all one levush to Atzilus. It's all one levush to Atzilus. Okay, we're somewhat clear. This Moshe will be helpful. The Moshe is helpful because again, the child or the chassid, all he relates to is just that tnuah. Is he any less relating to the Rebbe than the one, in essence, who's learning the deepest mind and understanding, and then the chassid even higher, his kashish, his mamish, nafshi, be'etzim not. On the other level, in terms of the gilui and the appreciation, yes. But in terms of gilui, as we mean it here, gilui meaning not lost at all is to whom are you connected? Same answer to everybody. All four chassidim answered the same answer. And there's nothing else of them. Rebbe, finished. But what? How? A father, Tati. How are you relating to Tati? His actions, his heart, his emotion, his neshama. Still waiting to hear back from the big mashpir. Our question at the end of his base. Still didn't get back to me.
Perhaps for the mashal that I've passed, the mashal for Atzilus could be the chassid that's batim and butel to the Rebbe, it's a shliach or a mashpia, and then there's the three chassidim, the thrhree other chassidim get hashpachim.
Yeah, we get from the
Atzilus, from the
you're trying to explain Atzilus as the officer, because the chayil that's giving it over. Maybe I'm going to think about it. I don't like the idea of an intermediary. I think further. Okay, nice suggestion. Okay, today's